somebody, they will tell you about us. They will tell us you about who we are. Here is, it's just about getting better, doing like, um, uh, yeah, I needed to mute that. Yeah, now I know we got. So now I just need to get this link and share in our WhatsApp groups. So if you are not in any of my WhatsApp groups, please, after the session, I might drop the link. You can always join, or I'll drop WhatsApp number. Then you can always ask her to join. So there, then the other here. And lastly, here, good. Now, believe everything is all good now. Can we just go back to Zoom and, of course, put my camera on so that we can say hi. The meeting is being live streamed. Say okay. Then you can do a recording of this, record on the cloud. Sure, that should be fine. So, good. So, yeah, it's a good evening all, and most welcome. So 2 minutes after the time we had planned to do this session, so we are not very late. It's a pleasure to have you all, and um, a privilege. So I can see a lot of like new faces. You're all most welcome, and I know there are a lot of members from the money mindset momentum program. We are glad with the progress that you people are sharing. So feel most welcome. Again, very familiar faces from the past personal finance classes. We are amazed by your interest with personal finance and investment related knowledge, and that is why you always keep back. You always keep coming back. We are glad, and we wish you a good session, and of course a good year ahead. Yeah, so I take this opportunity to welcome you all, and of course wish you all like a very awesome year ahead. Sending my new year wishes. We believe that you tried your best in 2025. So we'll just like do a review of what we did in 2025, and then we'll have like a poll. So we'll have like 4 polls during the session. You can respond just to improve. Like the reason why we had this particular webinar was because somebody shared their feedback, and then we thought maybe we could do a poll in our WhatsApp groups. And from the responses, actually, no, everybody, especially if you are building, you are a teacher, you are a tutor, you are a, whatever it is that you are building, systems get very better with feedback. And the reason why we have built in public is so that you can see how building. So this is how the webinar has come about, that we did the poll, and only it was 8 people who were saying they didn't have like systems. We are talking of mental systems that can help you achieve goals. So from the response of these 8 individuals, I had taken a screenshot of the responses. I wanted to engage these people individually. And maybe I thought, okay, let's do a session. So when you are participating in the sessions, in the polls, you are giving us feedback that help us in developing either sessions or even the kind of content that we share out there. So I know for the newcomers are wondering who is this just going on and speaking. My name is Daniel Kemita. That is my ID. Our business is Wakamiro Consulting. I'm a personal finance trainer. We are in the business of consultancy and personal finance training. Yeah, the business is based at Riverside Drive. Personally, I live in Kajiado. Yeah, And that should be enough for the introduction. Yeah, we host monthly personal finance classes and these kind of webinars. We push a lot of content out there just to help individuals make better economic decisions. Yeah, right. So I've said about how the session became about. Now, if you look at the title, it's very similar with something that you know from our personal finance classes or even from our work. We have a theme, and I know most of you know the theme. We talk of bridging the intention action gap. Bridging the intention action gap. Now, if you have not been to our session, you can note that down somewhere. Bridging the intention action gap. We hope you brought in a notebook and a pen. Always, individuals have these good intentions with their health, with their relationships, with their finances, in regards to their families, in regards to their retirements. Individuals have good intentions. We were joking in our groups recently where we were talking about the planning self and then the doing self. So now you hear people talking about New Year resolutions. So this is the planning self. Now, why don't we achieve this? Because now there's a big difference between the planning self and the doing self. So if there is any objective an individual could do with their, I don't know, you mentioned it, be it your faith, be it your relationship, be it whatever, it is now bridging the intention and action gap. You get to move from the planning stage, you get to work. So some of you in businesses, they have all these intentions of boosting revenue, boosting profitability, and all these kind of things. So yeah, very good intentions. But now we need to start working on these goals. So the title of the session has been borrowed from our theme. So we are continuing. That will also be the theme for our session. And we are saying that good intention is not a strategy. There is more to it, more to the good intention so that we can achieve it. And you all know what I say about these New Year resolutions. The reason why you are creating resolutions for a year is because accountability is something that comes in 12 months. I achieved, I didn't achieve. Now you might want to go back and start creating resolutions for a month, resolutions for a day. So you say, tomorrow, this is what needs to be done. So there is an email which I should have sent long ago, but I keep saying I will do it, I will do it. So I've made it a resolution because most of the things that we want to do, yeah, there's financial implications towards some of them, but most ask for actions from our side. So there are the business you want to venture into maybe might be requiring partners. It could have been easier than you thought. You just send an email and voila, you are there. So we'll just put that poll, the first poll there. So feel free to respond to it. We are just looking back to 2024. You can start with the first question. We are looking back at 2024 and asking that question of what worked, what didn't work. Because you would want to have a reflection, and I know most of you have done it. We have recommended that you can always do the money dates. So if you don't know what a money date is, this is what we recommend for you, that every 3 months, every quarter, your company reports to you, like your money market fund reports to you its performance every 3 months. They publish a fact sheet. Your banking share company, like you have shares of KCB, they report their financials every 3 months. So you might want to report to yourself how you have like review of what you are doing. So I have a goal here of like working towards an emergency fund. So what is the target? The target is 600. So 3 months later, I'm sitting down and saying, okay, this is how far I've come towards this. A life without reflection is not a very good life, Yeah? So you mess up so big, and then you are realizing when it is so late. So it is like very, very important that you get to always have these reviews. What do you do when you are on a money debt? Like, you have the goals towards paying off debt, towards an emergency fund, towards saving for your retirement. You have goals. You have like your personal net worth assessment. So some of those you could review them. So for your retirement, you had been working towards some 8 billion towards your retirement, but your daughter now has a child who you will be educating. Your son is late to venture out. As a parent, part of planning your retirement is making sure that your kids are independent early enough. If they continue being dependent even at the age of majority, then your retirement might not be so great. So that is why those examples came in. So you are reviewing your retirement savings in light of the developing info, like you're getting info every now and reviewing those retirement goals based on the same. So you are checking whether your emergency funds are still sustainable, whether they can take you for the months and all that. You are checking your personal net worth assessment and seeing how this has adjusted. If you didn't do that, like if we asked you if you know how your net worth changed in the last 1 year, and probably you can't tell, then there is need for you to plan sometime when the kids are back to school and you have a free weekend to yourself, and you are feeling a little broke, like money has gone to many things, and now the much you can be able to pay is attention. You can sit to yourself one weekend, down with yourself one weekend, and do this review, do a money date. So don't do it every day. We are just saying, like every 3 months, that's okay. What you'll do is by April, when you sit to do the review for the first quarter of the year, you will note, I'm not doing so well. And then you're able to calibrate, you're able to change whatever is not working. But if you wait until the end of the year with these resolutions, yearly resolutions, you might find yourself having like wasted a full year. You're better off wasting a quarter than wasting a full year. So what more can you do in a money date? So that is the first part where you are just working with what relates to you. Now you have also put money in the hands of other people, your money market fund, your special fund, a mutual fund there, some companies like your equities portfolios, and all those kind of things. Again, you would want to get some statements. So by April, when you are doing your first money date for the year, looking at first quarter, your circle will have reported their financials. So you want to check whether your company is still stable and all those kind of things. Whether your money market fund published a fact sheet, the assets are growing or they have decreased, whether the asset allocation is still healthy, liquid, and low risk, or there has been a change or something. The companies that you have bought shares in, are we growing revenue? Are we growing profitability? Is there a risk concern? So this is something that you can be able to do when you sit down for money date. Voila, and you have done so well, like only 2% of the population probably, or even less, like one or something, uh, doing money dates, or even a 0 point something. So when you are done with your money dates, probably you had gone to a restaurant. You can always come to our place, Kajiado. There are very nice restaurants there in the bush. So all this while, for the 2 hours, you have been taking water. Now, after the money date, you are calling yourself. And done very well. You pat yourself at the back and say, now I will have some meat and reward myself with, which part do you like? I don't know. You have whatever it is that you like. Reward yourself for that. And now you are saying, I'm going to have to do better in the second quarter because I also need a more reward, like a bigger reward. Eh? Yeah, sure. So all the best while at it. So um, we believe now you are done with the first poll. So we'll say that most of you here in this particular session, in this particular loan, it's not like you don't know these things. So we're just doing like a reminder. And of course, we are not choosing for individuals and telling them, oh, this is the best thing that you should do. No, not really. What we are trying to do is, yeah, good choices as defined by you. So it is not good choices as defined by a coach out there or something. I can only imagine. So we got a feedback from one of the past community members who was saying that they lost their job, and it had been a couple of months after losing their job, but they were not worried because the emergency fund could like sort them out. Now, when we are saying create an emergency fund, we are not saying it is a good choice of the person saying choose. It is a good choice as defined by you, that I want some sense of stability. I want some sense of financial, stability, mental stability. Because if you're not doing very well financially, you don't have solid foundation, then it is a source of stress by itself. You can imagine if you are able to set yourself some passive income, the passive income pays for a health cover by itself. Like you have a portfolio of bonds and shares, you just get the dividends and all these kinds of things from your circle, from whatever, and then use these returns to pay for health cover. Now, that is sense of stability for you and for your family. So so we are saying it is not like you don't know, we are just reminding yourself. It is not like you are ignorant, not really. What we have accepted, and we have recommended some books out there, and a lot of people now are, of course, out there leading and interacting with the likes of Richard Dalla, and Daniel Kahneman, who have done a lot of work around behavioral economics and this psychology behind. We are saying that it is not like the individual was ignorant, not really. It is the world out here, the way things are framed, and also understanding how human behaviors and how we do our thinking and how we do our choice and all those kind of things. We would prefer spend today. We would prefer forget about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. You go out there in our day to day, like closing a road, like you want to close a road. There's a mental shortcut that we use to make that decision fast. Now, if you apply that in other aspects of life, if you don't slow down to ask why this, then we might find ourselves making very bad decisions every now and then, not bad in a bad way. For students who have come to our personal finance classes, we have always asked a question to show the role of what we call availability heuristics, which are mental shortcuts, to show you some of those decisions that we make are psychological. So we were asking these students during the session, throughout the session, we would talk about Standard Chartered a lot. And those who follow me on social media will tell you I've written a lot of like content reviewing Standard Chartered performance and all those kind of things. It was by default, like we could have given an example of something else, of another company or whatever. So after a couple of sessions, talking about Standard Chartered and everything, then what happened is that we put up a poll and we asked the students, hey, tell us, which do you think is the bigger bank between Standard Chartered and DTB? Interestingly, our students have, like majority, almost 90 participants in those polls had always said that Standard Chartered is the bigger bank. That was the role of us priming their brains, telling them about Standard Chartered, that somebody is not able to sit back and that. The response to that question, the best response to that question is based on what? Like you are saying, Standard Chartered and DTB, based on what? If you ask that question, there is almost like a zero possibility of responding to that question longly. Because what you have done is slowing down and looking for data or info to back up the decision that you make. Now, if that is something simple there, now you can imagine how we are making decisions on where to invest, how we do our retirement, how we do all those kind of things. And based on that is where you had Daniel Kahneman talk about authoritarian regimes and marketers know something about ourselves, know something about us, that we are not able to distinguish that which have been repeated so many times and truth. So we are not able to distinguish between the two. So you repeat something so many times, example, and I know I have the speakers of the language and non-speakers of the language, but I'm almost betting 100% of the people who hear the next statement, which are two words repeated, will understand what it is. Maguta, maguta. Everybody will know we are talking about broadty, real estate, and all those kind of things, even from non-speakers. Now, what the marketers of those products repeated this so many times that if you are growing up, you know this is the only investment option. Authoritarian regimes, you have heard about slogans. So when we are going to our campaigns, we always come up with the slogans. So you hear it so many times, then you're not even able to distinguish between that and the truth. So now think of when we are trying to achieve retirement goals. The marketers, and you know, they have pushed this consumerism. We have become a consumerism economy that I want to spend, but it is not what I had desired. It is what society thinks. And the society now, they have been an opinion shaped maybe by these marketers or something of that sort, that I spent like impulsively, and it has nothing got wrong to do with me. It is not me who has a problem. It is how my brain has been conditioned by the society. So we are saying all this so that you first cut yourself some slack. You say, well, maybe from where I had worked, maybe from where I grew up, maybe from whatever. That is why maybe I'm this kind of a person. So we were asking the participants in the mindset, money and momentum, how would you describe your relationship with money? And some of the responses were, I wouldn't want to talk about money. And in another part, we would ask them, how would you describe the background where you grew from? We never talked about money. And you get the perfect characteristics of avoidant people who don't want conversations to do with money. It is not their problem. It is a problem of where they grew up. And now maybe the only challenge that they have is just going back and seeing how they do their money and trying to work out, like, why do I behave like this? And you can always work that in very many other aspects of life. I'll just give you an example. So somebody visited one of my parents. So they had been unwell and somebody visited them. I was very young. I should have been in primary school or thereabouts. Yeah, maybe. Now, this person who has visited my mother, they are friends with my mother, but personally, we are not friends with them. And I wouldn't want anything to do with them. And they had brought gifts, like in terms of food stuff. And from there on and on, I developed two food stuffs I could not eat. And you know what you call trauma. Yeah? So that came from there. And now I've had to go back. They're saying I don't have to heal from these as I'm exposing myself to know what my background had shaped me about. So your relationship with money, I wouldn't want anything to do with the investment. Why? Maybe the first time you tried out investment, you fell for a scam or a pyramid scheme or something. And now it always feels like you have to, navigate shark invested water, and you wouldn't want to do that. So I would just want to stay safe. I just want to stay safe. Case example, the people who participated in the IPOs in the 2000s, and then those IPOs did not materialize to whatever they were looking for. They didn't make the billions that they were promised, and all those. Come across so many of them that don't want anything to do with investment. There is not like investment is a bad thing. People have made a lot of money in equities and all these kind of things, but it is maybe from where they have grown from. So we had to talk about that, so that we say even the person who maybe was struggling and saying, I struggled with the saving, I struggled with inconsistency, there's nothing wrong about you. Maybe the only goal that you have today is going back and saying, why am I this kind of a person? Yeah, maybe first date you went with a psycho, and then today you never want anything to do with the same. So let's see what we have there in terms of the poll, what our friends have said. I had good intentions, but the execution was inconsistent. So this is 2025. So for that individual, whatever they are looking for is like in 2026, building some consistency. We won't talk about willpower. We don't want to focus on willpower. Will help us create better systems that can help us stay consistent. Income was irregular, and also savings felt reactive. It's okay. We understand situations have been crazy. I earned well, but my lifestyle expanded quietly. Yeah, you know, um, lifestyle trip. I had systems in place and they worked well. Sure. Now there are some responses that there are some questions that I need to respond to. So the first we have the books. So the books, number one is misbehaving. So misbehaving, the making of behavioral economics by Richard Thaler. The second book is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Somebody is not hearing the meeting. Well, what is up? Olive. If you can't hear us, please let me know. So, yeah, so the two books, Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman, The Misbehaving, The Making of Behavioral Economics by Professor Richard Thaler. The other book, maybe I can recommend, you don't even have to do a book. You can pay Zoom subscription, not Zoom, Netflix subscription for a month, and then you watch a TV show. So you can do the book or watch the TV show. So just check Lamit Seth. So check Lamit Seth. The title of the book or the series, the TV series that he has on Netflix, could put you off because I don't know why he chose that title. I'll teach you how to be rich. Just go ahead and watch that on Netflix. It is an awesome one. You will enjoy it because Lamit will be showing you how interesting human beings are. So Lamit is talking with Drew, and Drew and his partner have a savings account for their dog. And Lamit asked Drew, no, you have a savings account for your dog, like a checking account for your dog where you put some money? Yeah. And you said you don't have some savings set aside for your retirement. Drew could not accept that question. He was like, even though you are here to help me, you didn't have to call me out like that. It is a very fun thing for you to watch or read the book. The beautiful thing is Lamit said he's not like us. Lamit said was not coming from finance backgrounds. So there are no mathematics, there's nothing. It is just about psychology and, of course, things like that. Vitabu, Thinking Fast and Slow, really misbehaving, just misbehaving, Professor Richard Thaler, no problem. Good. I don't know if there is any other question. Olive, volume is okay. Grace Angelo, what is it with it is, I'll teach you how to be rich. Or you can check Lamit said. I'm sure Lamit said. So there. Good. You check them out and enjoy. So back to the session. Wale kuna watu wanasema volume iko sawa, wengine wanasema volume haiko sawa. So I'm not sure how we sort that. If you find yourself with a problem, you can always exit, go to a group if you belong to one of my groups, then go to YouTube. The session is there. Paddy says, greetings, have irregular income and what strategy of managing sinking fund and ensuring an emergency fund? Okay, sure. We'll get back to that. We'll talk about that. That is why we are here. That is why we came. Now, so you see, the majority of the respondents in that particular poll have just gone ahead and said, hey, look, the intentions, but I was not consistent. Then we just need to then say why, like go inside a person's brain and ask why did this happen? Like why the inconsistency? Why am I about today, just today, without thinking about the future? Why can't I save and all those kind of things? Now, we'll explain a few biases, and those people who we are listening in would I need to mute all. Mhm. Yes, good, so that I don't have a noise in the background. So we'll be talking about biases, and when I talked about availability heuristics, we are talking of mental shortcuts. Then that is the heuristics, mental shortcuts. You create a shortcut that you hear somebody telling you, saying ABCD, and then you assume whatever it is that was being said. Secondly, the biases, then this preference towards present, future, and all these kind of things. So that is what we'll be trying to explain and show you by example how we do it. So you'll get, we'll be referencing so many studies by the likes of Dalla, so that you can see how these biases, because once you understand, you look at society, you'll be able to see your own unique behaviors. I'll be like, oh, okay, this is how I behave. I have one of my clients, tax clients back in the days, is an EPZ, is a company based in the EPZ. So when we got there, of course, the employer is like, oh, we'll buy you lunch. Don't worry, you don't have to spend lunch. You just go to the canteen and eat, no problem. So I would, over lunch, these people, they are not paid a lot of money. You know, the semi-skilled workers, not paid a lot of money. Just a small amount. So end the month, we would they'll just sit there at the canteen and looking and judging. I know, of course, judging people, that's okay. And you would see a preference towards getting food from the cash point. So this is how the thing operates. He has a communal canteen, food is free. So you eat githeri mchele, githeri rice, ugali, and that is free. It's not good food. That's okay. Maybe somebody would prefer something else. Sure, no problem. I don't have a problem about that. If, for example, if me and you belong to the workers' union, we would maybe be negotiating for a better food or something of that sort. But just note that the food is free. Not so good, but free. Now, they also have cash point. So if you go to the cash point, you get to buy. So if you want to take a soda, if you want to take, like, you have preference for other foods, you would buy from the cash point. Now, end of month, after being paid, so the first couple of days, people have money and they want to, of course, enjoy the fruit of their work. You want to live once and all these kind of things. People are buying from the cash point. Why should I not? And all this, whatever. At the cash point, you will find very long queues. Then just a few days later, like 5 days later, then everybody reverts to the free. Even the person who was saying Githeri Ningumu. Why did they do that? They cooked Githeri. Also, for those who are joining us outside the country, from outside the country, like the Zambian, Githeri is maize and beans. So if you have dried maize, even when you cook it, it doesn't become very soft. So somebody will be saying, when I have money, this is hard. Yeah, and I could eat better soft. So when you hear people talking about it soft, that is what they are referencing to. Now, personally, when I have money and I go to watch my football game, and whatever, when I have money, my usual joint, I say the seats are not very comfortable. They are no good cushion. No, it is not that the seats are not comfortable. It is it is the power of money that is speaking. When I don't have money, oof, I'm thanking everybody else for making such a good joint where women can go and unwind and all these kind of things. Yeah, you see us on the roads end month, traffic jam, and then mid-month, oh, I'm happy to take the bus. So what happens? So the first bias we talk about is the present bias. Now, the explanation of this is where today's needs dominate tomorrow's plans. So between spending today and saving for retirement, and retirement is so far off away, like it is in 60 years. So I'm happy to just satisfy today's need. You know, I only live once, let's go for the vacation. You know, we only live once, let's buy these, whatever that we needed and all those kind of things. And the future benefits are discounted too heavily. So when you are telling somebody that in a future where they have some passive income and all these kind of things, now those benefits, we tend to discount them and we will give all excuses why maybe that future might not be there and all these kind of things. Now, this is not something like for Africans. So somebody is here wondering whether this is only for Kenyans. No, this is true even with everybody around the globe. Case example, so Professor Richard Dalla had done laboratory tests. So for researchers, you go to a lab and you do tests. So you bring in people and you play various games and all these kind of things. So he had seen these biases, like pleasant bias. And he knew that we tend to prefer today, so spend today instead of saving. And now he needed a way to prove this, that it happens in real world. So they came up with a program. We had shared that program. Those who are from our WhatsApp group could be knowing the Save More Tomorrow. So they designed a program. And so Professor Dalla, a researcher on behavioral economics, had been hired by the UK government. So they were sitting in a committee that was to help various ministerial departments on becoming efficient and all these kind of things. So there he had the proximity to work with like the finance ministry, and they came up with this Save More Tomorrow. And what they did is telling the pension companies that one, automatically enroll individuals. So if you are in this session and you don't have a money market fund, just go open a money market fund tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It doesn't cost you anything to open one. Just go open one. By default, like that is what Dalla is doing with pension. So if you are employed, then automatically you are enrolled to a pension or a retirement savings plan automatically. So if you don't have like a money market fund or a SACCO, okay, you choose where you would want to save. I have ZD and Mali on my Safaricom, so you can use that. I have a money market fund with my bank, so you can always choose that. You can do a SACCO and others. yeah, let's assume you don't even know how money market funds work and all these kind of things. Just go to your M-Pesa app, choose ZD, and then automatically you set that you can send 5% of every amount you pay via M-Pesa to be sent to the ZD MMF. So automatically, that is what Dala is doing in the UK. The second thing that Dala did was the program, whatever I was reading, is that today you save whatever you can. Let's say you decide to save 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month. The form that you are filling in, you are making a commitment that when you get a pay rise, you will save more. That is where the program name came from. Save more tomorrow. I have a client who is a health facility. So they do a pay rise every year. So it is a mission thing. So that is maybe why they're able to do that. So they do a pay rise every year. Now we got all the staff to sign up to a money market fund. And then we were like, you save how much you are able to, like 3,000. The cleaners and sweepers, 3,000, 5,000. That was still okay. But you were making a commitment that when you get a pay rise, you will increase your savings. Now, if you work in a HR office, if you work in a SACCO, a pension, a money market fund, or you are an employer, you are in a position of influence. This is an invitation we have for you. You can go to your workplace, work with a reputable, one of those big 5 brands in money market funds. At least you know there is safety. So the likes of CIC, Sanlam, the likes of Old Mutual, ABSA, Allcorp, you work with whatever. And then get people to save. Then the next year, you just nudge people to, you see, you have a pay rise. That if there's that possibility, then you can always increase your savings. So I'm saying if you're in a HR office or you're an employer yourself, you have some staff, like almost majority of you have like, what do you call them? Domestic workers, you have drivers, you have maybe staff, like admin staff working in your offices. You don't even have to have all these systems in place. It is just telling that person, now I hear you asking for advances, salary advances. I don't know what is your relationship with money, but I would want you to get to save. So open this account and send something every month. 1 year later, just tell the individual, we are increasing your salary with 5,000. Now you can save more. Now, Dala, when they implemented this program in the UK with the UK pension industry, the Financial Times was reporting last year, was it 25 or 24? Financial Times was saying that Dala tricked, played tricks with, we call it nudging. So nudged people, the Britons, to saving more for their retirement, and the pension industry booming with like retirement savings. So yeah, just based on that present bias, that today's needs dominate tomorrow's plans. Okay. So a takeaway here, if you have a money market fund, what have you been saving in it? Like maybe for emergencies. No, it is okay to have another one, have a second one for your sinking fund or for your vacation. Like you would want to go for a vacation or you want to go back to school. And there's something that, have you ever tried the envelope budgeting? So you take an envelope and you write a name for this is for land, this is for whatever. Now, what you create at the back of your mind is that this money is for a specific purpose, is for meant for school fees. Even when you like borrow 1,000 from one, you feel like you have debt. So if the goal you have towards this year is going back to school and you need to save some 200, 400, 500,000, whatever amount, some 50,000 to go to Moringa, just set up ZD or a money market fund, and then you are writing down, like in your notebook where you do your thing, you're writing down that I'm on ZD or I'm on Sanlam MMF or whichever. And this, the purpose for that, you put a dash, this is for school fees, this is for vacation, this is for ABCD. That way, even if you borrow, like if I ask you, hey, Paddy, could you lend me some 2,500? Naturally, you say, I don't have money because you didn't have money set for that. But if this need, I'm your friend, you should lend me and all these kind of things, I'll give you back. If there's need to lend, then you are always saying, I'm taking from this account, I'm borrowing from this account. Even some instances, you tell people, don't give me back that money. I want you to pay back that money to that account because it was meant for specific purpose. Yeah, so if you don't have a savings option, you open one. If you already have and you have another goal, you can open another. Okay, good. So what also made us not be consistent, or what deters us, the second point, I would want to work on this. Why am I not achieving it? Talk of complexity paralysis. Those people who followed me in 21, 22, they knew back then they're talking a lot about bonds, sure. So when we got a lot of people to invest in bonds. What achieved us that, whatever we were able to achieve, is just making this thing you're calling savings, investing, have it in a language that individuals are able to understand. The choice of when we are going for our sessions, when we are going to meet our clients, the choice to wear jeans and sneakers, you and speak a language. So there's an example that I have used there. Oh, your daughter, your son. And I was explaining some of those African context things that are happening here. The choice of doing that, or even when I was giving you an example, like when I go out for my beer or whatever, the choice of those kind of examples is designed to make you lower your guard because you have been used to finance professionals coming with the suits and all these kind of like formality and all those kind of things. Make things relate with the people. If you do that, then you will be able to make it easy. So even these savings, the investment, if you make it complex, then individuals will not be able to pursue it, unfortunately, and that is what has been causing us a lot of problems. And I'm speaking to you also having known that I invited you to go out there. Please remember to mute. It's very, very important that you mute yourselves. Okay, that's okay. So I'm also speaking to you with at the back of my mind also knowing that I want you to go out there and empower somebody. So some of the conversations is meant to empower you to go out and empower someone. So kindly, if you are doing that, make it easy, as simple as ABCD, for individuals to go out and if you're from our personal finance classes, when individuals ask about money market funds, I tell them, let's go for market share, number one. Then you are left with like 10 big companies. Secondly, we have just gone for companies that are growing their assets simply. You don't even have to much worry about. So you reduce the options. If you tell an individual, let's look at an old person who is about to go for their retirement, and this old person have been working maybe outside the country all their lives. They don't even know the investment landscape. I was holding a session with some beautiful, beautiful ladies from Germany. These ladies left Kenya when Barclays and Standard Chartered would be asking their customers to have 1 million account balances. So someone is even telling me, oh, I don't know, this bank collapsed. They can't even remember. That is what they know about the Kenyan investment space. So somebody is wondering, my 10 million, won't I lose it? Now, how easy can you be able to tell this person to invest? Don't even push them to the unknown territories. If you reach out to me and tell me, oh, Daniel, I'm going for my retirement and I'm worried about the investment space, I could lose my money, I'm wondering what to do. Now, I don't even need to push you to investment options that are risky because it will make it difficult for you to choose. I just tell you, which bank do you bank with? KCB, we have a cooperative bank. Now, those institutions have a money market fund. So I'm not even sending you to an unfamiliar person. I'm sending you to your relationship manager, a very familiar person. Oh, Daniel, can we do a consultancy session? Why do we even have to sit down for you to invest your money in a money market fund? Because you have so many questions. Let us make easy. Your money is in a fixed deposit at a bank XYZ. So just go and say the fixed deposit is not earning you much, it doesn't have much liquidity or something. So you would want to move to a money market fund by the same bank. So too many options, when I'm having to choose from too many options, whether it is an instrument, it becomes difficult. I've seen people taking forever to decide, oh, let me choose one. Why do I have to take all this time? If I'm choosing a broker to trade shares with, I've recommended, why don't you go with the broker who has a leading market share? At least you know the broker is a good broker, or you go with a broker who is attached with your institution. Like, for example, Cooperative Bank has Kingdom Bank, Stanbic has SBG Securities. Make it very easy for yourself to choose. You don't have to explore everything because when you get too many options, you'll be leading yourself to delays. This is the same thing even that happens when it comes to goals. So you have so many goals for you to choose from, to work on, to prioritize. And you end up delaying even getting one to start working on. Can we start with the one that is easiest to achieve? Like, I just need some 20,000, or let's use a legit example. I just need some 55,000 and go to Moringa and take this course. Just take the money, go to the course, click, underline that from the list of the goals that you were supposed to be achieving. As simple as that. Now, I need to be working on my emergency fund. I need to invest offshore. I need to do all these kind of things. Why do you have to give yourself like all these difficult times working towards your goal? If the only thing that you get to achieve in the first half of this year is creating yourself an adequate emergency fund, just put a figure to it. So I need 500, 600, 400, 250. How much am I setting aside per month towards it? Oh, I want to buy a vehicle. I want to set up an emergency fund. I want to do this. So many things. And when you are even deciding, when you are choosing, I should work on this, I should work on that, then you get yourself to delay. And this happens even in other domains of life. You remember when you wanted to settle down, so many choices, you mess it up. When you were venturing into business, you have so many business ideas. It is a problem with perfectionism. I want to get this idea right. I want to have all these things together. But progress is about saying, okay, the first thing that we need to do, get a client who is interested with our service. Simple. So now forget about the fancy logo and all those kind of things, fancy presentation and whatever. Just number one, a client who is interested in your product. What does that take? Sending a message to 10 people and telling them, hey, we are doing ABCD. Maybe you could know somebody who is interested, refer them our way. Then from the 10, you only needed one response. Oh, that's a very good idea. So they didn't even give you a referral, them being a client, but they told you, oh, that is a very good idea. But it then motivates you to ask another 10. From now, the 10, you get one. And from the feedback they give you, oh, that was very professional service. Now you get yourself going. So the fee that they pay you can help you set up, like do all these fancy things that you get to do. So too many options will be leading to delays, and delay for most people will always be looking like prudence. Oh, I want to research, I want to do all these kind of things, but this prudence is, but it is inaction, not taking steps towards whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. The other thing that deters us from, like, how now we have gotten ourselves where we are. If you did very well in 2025, congratulations. But if you didn't, then this conversation is very critical for you. We were talking of default dominance. Now, what matters most, so in the default dominance, is only motivation. So I need to be motivated towards working this. I need to be motivated towards working this. I need to be motivated towards working this. That motivation might not last us very long. The motivation might not last us very long. And what we are looking forward to is automation. Make it very simple. We gave an example for the students who have been coming to our personal finance classes. I was giving an example, talk of nurses or teachers. So the two professions, you can get very quality data from all those two professions. You see someone has a salary every end month, and secondly, they have so many options. There are circles and all these kind of things. We have worked some figures in our personal finance classes as we are giving examples, and we are telling our students, if you think of the nurse who belongs to a circle and the one who doesn't belong, same case with the teacher who belongs to a circle and the one who doesn't. Now, who gets to save more? The saver who has a structured tool will end up saving more, where the structured tool actually is just deducting this from the source. So before I even get the money. So this is how things work. If you send me 100,000 to my bank account, oh, here is your pay, then I always find ways of spending that money to the last shilling. But if you deduct 20%, save it, then you send 80%, 80,000 to my account or 70,000 to my account, then what happens is I find myself having to make the 80,000 work or 70,000 work. So that is why back then you were earning a lesser salary than you are doing today, but things were just moving. You were getting it right very well. But when there was more money to your disposal, then you have always been making this justification towards spend this, do this, and all these kind of things. You're not punishing yourself, actually. It's just putting a better foundation for your tomorrow, and even for periods of uncertainty. And those happen a lot. Now, the better default is, for example, now where I have given that example, I have said that now we are just moving from it's only the goals. Now you have the goals in place, and then you are moving to systems. So what goals are you working towards in 2026? Have you defined the goals? And I just want to read you something that we have read so many times. We have shared you again and again. And these are the words of Jordan Peterson. And he's saying that specify your damn goals. How are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That ain't happening. And most often, this is the most important part for me because it calls for accountability on my side. And often people won't specify their goals because people don't like to specify conditions for failure by keeping themselves vague or foggy. So I think of your small business. How much revenue are you targeting? You could put a figure. And also, you're not for 2026. And also, you don't want to have like something there you fantasize over. You want to even break this down because, again, people just come with fancy ideas and goals, but they are not saying how they will achieve that. You remember the conversations that we have had with you. We are saying that very beautiful goals, so literal progress towards those goals. So I I love the destination. I love this kind of business. I can even visualize it and all these kind of things, but I'm stuck at the start. So I know where we would want to go. I love it. I would want to get there, but unfortunately, stuck to the start because there's nothing uh, about enabling behaviors. So I've not sat myself down and started having this conversation with myself about enabling behaviors. What gets me to achieve this kind of health? If I want to improve my health, if I want to improve my relationships, if I want to improve my monies, then there's that question of uh, the enabling behaviors that whatever I put in place that would get me towards those particular goals. So yeah, your business is looking forward to doing 100 million. That is a beautiful goal. But what other goals should we put in place towards achieving that? Oh, the first thing you might want to go do is retrain your members of staff, rehire, lay off the people who you know these might not help us achieve that goal, and sign up those partnerships because again pushing that kind of revenue, you're going to have better relationship with your suppliers and all these kind of things. Now once you internally, externally, and everything, you put, like you are saying, 100 million, do you even have the capacity for that? Or my business, it is a new business, you're looking forward to 1 million in revenue maybe every month. Now what will that entail? Because now when you wake up tomorrow and you work towards that, so I'm looking forward to have saved like 600,000. What will that entail? So we are now moving now. Yeah, so you have the goals, so specify the damn goals. But now we want to move from these goals and we want to jump into creating systems, which is the most important thing. Now, the systems we'll be talking about might not even be systems in place like physical, they might even be mental systems. Because we'll talk about automation. Some people will say, oh, I'm not employed. I don't have a salary at the end of the month. I don't have like my salary is not sent to the bank, so I'm not able to automate. You want to maybe appreciate the importance of automation and how you can do this for yourself. So tomorrow is a work day, yeah, sure. So all your institutions will be up. When I wake up tomorrow, I want to define whatever it is that I will do towards achieving that goal that I would love to work towards. So what default options can work for me? So pay yourself first structure. For individuals who are employed, this would be like if your workplace, there's an option for you to be deducted from source, that's okay. You save. Now, if you are a freelancer, like I know a lot of people here, freelancers, including Daniel, don't have any regular income. There, you don't have any promise with anybody that they will be your client or they will be whatever. So you go do an assignment, you get paid. Now, you also want to have at the back of your mind that you say, pay yourself first. So when you get the money, before you even get to spend the bills and all those kind of things, you put aside a portion of that income. So you know how your gigs and freelancing and all these kind of things work, those kind of assignments. So you know after doing this assignment, my profit from that assignment is an X amount or something. And what you want to say is, I will set aside a portion of that profit and save it. Because If you get to set aside that, and you can even appoint some specific accounts. I'll give you an example. I don't know whether that gentleman is here on the call. He's my client. So the meeting was in the office where he worked. So after the meeting had been paid, so money came to the M-Pesa. So this gentleman tells me, I'm seeing you off. So outside where they work, there's not even outside. So the parking lot, and there's a restaurant here. Tell him, no, thank you so much. I'm going to have to sit here fast for a minute. So I send my money to one of the investment banks. So I have an account with one of those accounts. I send a portion of the money, a large chunk of that, small amount, put them. Now, after I've sent in the money, even getting it back would take me like 3 days. So first, I even delay. I might not even think about asking for the money. So yeah, I would send in. If I wanted it back, it would take even me like 3 days. Think of a money market fund which says that the first withdrawal is free, but the subsequent withdrawal, so Sanlam, this is Sanlam that I'm referencing. So you do the first withdrawal in a month, that is free, but the subsequent withdrawal, you'll be charged for the withdrawal, like 500. Now, just thinking about, so I had already put this money here, and you people are saying you will charge me. Business people, I know you have all these justifications, you need business capital and whatever. If you have proper plan, you'll be able to know what needs to be set aside for the business and what needs to be set aside for yourself. Because again, you don't want to limit yourself to be able to take opportunities that come up. But for the business people, well, maybe remind you to ask your business to pay you. Apart from your business, or most of those other businesses, apart from your businesses, the end of those businesses, most of them, is those businesses going out, like going bust, kaput, nafilisika, yeah? Now, if that is true, and I appreciate it, then I want to go to the business tomorrow and say, I know you have a lifetime, you can get to your end, and I want you to be paying me a specific amount of money, and I want to put that aside for my retirement, for my family, and all those kind of things. I have told especially gentlemen, if you are borrowing for your small business like hardware, don't use your personal vehicle as collateral. Don't use the home where your family lives. Don't use the title for that as collateral for the business. And the savings that we are set aside for the family, you don't have to use those for the business. It gets to a point where businesses ask and ask for more, especially when they're about to die. They will ask for more and more and more. You know how you are glad Ma the day she left, that morning she woke up and asked for more and more. I want to eat this, I want to eat this. That is how businesses behave. When they are about, you can see, we call it a bottomless pit. If you determine things are thick. Now, you want a home to go back to, you want a vehicle to take your family to church with, and you want some savings so that you can pay school fees and like take your family to make their hair or something of that sort. So you might want to find a way of putting these things into distinction, but like put aside the business and put yourself aside and your family. Now, especially for the family people, if you don't have yourself a family, go take as much risk as you wish. It's okay, no problem, until you do. So other thing after you can do, you have paid yourself, and that you have it at the back of your mind. Something else that you could have it at the back of your mind is automation. So today is a very interesting day because your salary account is at Cooperative, is at ABSA, is at Standard Chartered or Stanbic or whatever. All those institutions have money market fund accounts. So if you are paid a salary, then you are able to set aside, say, 10% of my salary. So you set up a standing order. You know how we worked those figures? Yeah, sure. You know how we worked those figures. How we said, for those who have been to our personal finance classes, even assume the standing order is being charged. So some banks won't charge for the standing order, but some banks will charge. So assume the standing order is being charged 300. So at the end of the year, the fee for the standing orders is 3,600. So that is how much you have paid. To stay consistent and to have some discipline with whatever you are doing. Now, the cost of inconsistency, the cost of indiscipline, let's work it out. So what do you call it? You are paid, for example, you are now earning 150. Your saving potential is being able to set aside 40,000 a month. So looking at 2025, you should be having 480, 40 by 12 set aside somewhere saved. Did you achieve that? Maybe not. Then the difference between your potential and what you did as put aside. So you could have saved 480 and today you have saved maybe 2025 you saved like 300. So the difference 180, money that you can't explain where it went, money you can't tell what it achieved, money that just got lent out anyhowly, emotionally leading, being guilt tripped to support even causes that you don't even believe in, and all those kind of things. So that difference is the cost of indiscipline. And then maybe you start appreciating that the standing order, even though maybe it was you are being charged, that would have been okay. Now, you don't even have to send the money to your money market fund account. Not really. So you can put up a standing order. Let me just use the example of the customer of KCB. So you can put up a standing order for money to move from your bank account to KCB Investment Bank. And when the money goes to KCB Investment Bank, then you get to buy shares of this good banking counter. You know, it is good for dividends and all these kind of things. So after the money, 45,000 goes to the brokerage account, then you spend that money to buy shares, to buy an ETF or something. And then let's review at the end of the year what you will have done. So that is automation. Now, for the people who are freelancers, Standard Chartered has actually a good, you don't even have to put up a standing order. For Standard Chartered, is the money market fund is on the platform. So you can get a bank which has, or even M-Pesa has Zidi. So Standard Chartered and M-Pesa will use them. So Standard Chartered and SC Shilingi, Safaricom and Zidi. So you get paid, whatever you are paid, then you take a portion of that money and put it on the money market fund account. Now, if you have inconsistent income, now you also, or you're a freelancer, gig worker like myself, then you're going to have to put it at the back of your mind that automation for you will be something that your brain knows this is how things should be done. You will do it once, twice, and then when you are doing your money dates, you review. So you do it twice, you fall once. You do your money dates, and then you come to another webinar. We'll do another webinar maybe as we go to the second quarter of the year. Then we tell you a few things, and then you go get back in line, and then you go out there. And again, so this pushes you for, you come to this session, we push you for 3 months or 4 months. You do a money date, go to a webinar, go to so many webinars, learn. Then you again go commit yourself. Commit yourself. That is actually what these seminars, these preachings, these whatever they should be doing. That I go here, then commit myself. Oh, I was almost losing track after taking our personal finance class 1 year ago. Now I'm recommitting myself to automation. I'm recommitting myself whatever. So I have explained about escalation, that is save more. And in the poll, there is actually one question that whether you are planning to save more. So assume you have a pay rise. If you have a pay rise, then your savings should not continue as they were. Like you have some 20,000 extra. So you should increase your savings to be consistent with that. So I explained Save More Tomorrow as I talked about that. And you also want to create friction. You want to make bad behaviors harder. Making hard behaviors harder. I gave an example of that where I said that when I send the money to that investment account, getting it back becomes so difficult. And that automatically, if you come and tell me, hey, Daniel, I wanted some money. Okay, no, not even tell me, Daniel, you wanted some money. If I'm told, I want 2005 now, 2,500 urgently, urgently, yeah, then I don't have. Like I would have wanted, I don't have. How do Daniel make sure that he's not spending money anyhowly? Maybe when you have gone for like the festivities and all the what have you, it was automatic. You disable, so you have banking apps. There are so many now, yeah. So if you put in the password long, so in one, if of my accounts, I don't know about the others. If I put the password long 3 times, then it is disabled. I have to go to the branch. Now I'm already in Moshada, and I might not be able to come back. Now, even when this is disabled, survival kicks in. We're going to have to make the money that was set for this vacation or for the festivities. So we're going to have to make this work. And so it was, how much had you set aside to spend? X amount. So you're going to have to make it last for that particular period that you were there. So you are making bad behaviors harder by creating friction. Another way is if you wanted, for example, if you wanted a significant amount of money, now you're going to have to wait until I go to the branch to withdraw money. So there are accounts that I can't go on the app and withdraw money. There is an account that I have to visit the branch. So this creates friction and making the behavior hard. I have given the example of Sanlam. There are a host of others which are doing the same, where they say first withdraw in a month, 5 hours, it is free. But if you do another withdrawal, then you'd be charged for it. So good. So now there was a few questions there in the chat box. So let me respond to them. Okay, good. So there's somebody asking about the sinking fund. Let me see. Let me talk about that. So many. Please put the quote here. That quote. What quote? Felicilla Munga. Remind me the quote. I can't remember what quote. I've talked about so many things. So the sinking fund, she's asking, so you can feel free to ask a couple of questions. She's asking, if I want to do 100,000 per annum, take us through how you build a sinking fund. Is it you pay fees for the current year and create a sinking fund for the next year, or is it just like an ongoing thing? So you say now after paying term 2, you start saving for term 3. Now, towards this question, I don't know how best I can I will respond to this. I hope I understood it right. Now, how much should you be setting aside per month towards school fees? So you take the annual school fees. So assume your kids need 240,000 per annum. So you have like 1 or 2. So how much should you be saving per month towards school fees? So you should be doing 20,000 per month. So from your income. Okay. So if you're creating a sinking fund towards school fees, now what you will do is, and let's remember how this problem gets us. The problem we get with, especially when it comes to school fees, is when I'm looking for 80,000 now, I had not set anything aside. So in most cases, most people jump to the emergency fund to withdraw money there, pay school fees. But the emergency fund was not meant for that purpose. Why did that happen? Is because in November and December, so in October, actually, because you had paid the school fees for that term. So around September, October, November, and December, I was not setting aside money meant for school fees. Why set money aside for school fees, especially in November and December? The kids are home, blah, blah, all those kind of things. The best approach, I could say, is where I put aside every month. So I want to put up a sinking fund to pay school fees, to pay insurance, especially if you have like a very big vehicle, which you need to pay a lot of insurance premium towards and all that. You put the figure that is needed. If your kid is going to college in 2 years, then that is also important. You put a figure, then you say, I'm working towards this much. And how much am I setting aside per month? The goal with this is to reduce the amount of money that is within my disposal. I'm giving you a guarantee. If you give me 100,000, I will make the month work. If you give me 300,000, I'll still see how that money is grown. If you give me 600,000, I'll also see how that money is grown, and completely we are done. So the goal is to reduce the amount of money that is available for my disposal to spend now on this, whatever. So how much setting aside per month? So after we pay the school fees, we start building now maybe like for next month. So we put aside 20,000 every month. You can even do extra so that the fund has more money. This is something that you can do even for your vacations. You see, most of us have very good jobs. God has been gracious to us. Most of us have this talent and skills and all these kind of things, but it is unfortunate we don't get to enjoy the good things that are there in life. A good thing like going for a vacation, a good thing like going for a pilgrimage. Now, how much do you need to go for that vacation or pilgrimage? Like 5,000 US dollars. Or go to like Labat and watch the African Championship or whatever, 500,000. So what you do is you set a figure and then say, how much am I putting aside? And so you don't work on very short term. Just say you will go for like a proper vacation, maybe in 2 years' time, so that the 15,000 that you contribute every month towards it is achievable. So yeah, the sinking fund, like for education, just say how much we are looking for to put. Now the goal is to set aside 20,000 per month, but I have a side gig, so I can be able to do 20,000 from my salary, but I have a side gig that I can be able to do an extra 10,000. So that fund will be having excess, or will be having more to be able to take care of maybe the other needs related to the same, or even pursue another goal. So if you start building now, so you'll pay school fees term one. Now if you build it fast, there could be enough to pay school fees for second term and third term. There's another, okay. If you are in our WhatsApp group, I will just share because it is there. Just saying that you specify those damn goals, and in most cases, most people won't specify those goals because we just like staying vague and foggy. That I tell you, have a goal of, now I could use myself as an example, have a goal of adding this number of clients. Now, unfortunately, I don't like even specify the number. So I don't say the number, or I don't say even how we will achieve it. So that, and even when, we don't put a time frame. Now, unfortunately, or fortunate for me, so fortunate for me is that in 1 year's time, if I have not achieved, then there was no yardstick. Like we can't measure and say, oh, this is where you're supposed to go, and this is where you are at. So I console myself. But if I had stated what we need to achieve and by when, so when we get there, I track. So if you want to boost sales, if you want to have taken a course this year, you are looking forward to take 2 courses or 3 courses, say by when, the first quarter, what it is that you should have done. so that you can look back and be able to say, well, did I achieve or did I not achieve whatever I was looking forward to? Now, importantly, I think there's something that I was almost forgetting. We asked some of our past students what it is that they did best. So we asked some of our past students what it is that they did best. So now you have seen how people share with us feedback after they have come from like somebody is 1 year after the personal finance classes. Some people have shared feedback. Now, okay, we have shared some with you, others we have just retained internally. We appreciate the feedback and we appreciate these people. But every time a feedback is sent, we take the feedback and put in some metrics. Oh, okay, is there success or no success? What contributed to the success and whatever. So we analyzed these and we were asking some of, we were looking at, we had not even asked, it is just analyzing the feedback. We were seeing what did the best, those who had achieved, what did they do different from the rest? And so we have talked about automation and all these kind of things. Something really important is accountability buddies. Now, when we became adults, so I can do anything that I wish, including set up this webinar and fail to show up. So there's nobody asking me about it. It is not like a work thing, like I'm employed and I'm going to have to report to anyone. So tomorrow when we wake up, it is not like I'm being mandated to take a summary and send you away. That is the unfortunate thing about adults. Now, at your workplace, you do very well because they are, you know, you will get disciplined because you were supposed to do ABCD and you didn't do it. Now, that is, if somebody asks you, the unfortunate thing about adulting is that, especially for people, most people who don't have like accountability systems or they don't have inward like mechanisms to keep them disciplined or something of that sort. Yeah, so you can see at you with your career and work with your work at your workplace, you have done so well. But there are some other aspects of life you're handling. Why is there this disparity? So on one side I've done well, on the other side I've not done well. If you are wondering, these accountability systems come in, kick in. Now, okay, so Daniel, how have you been able to like keep yourself disciplined and accountable and all these kind of things? It's not like we cannot break rules. So one of our friends was asking us to send us money for investments, not even one, I think it has been several. And you know that have said we don't do custody or execution for any, whether it is a client or follower or whoever. So what we did is we came up with the policies. After coming up with the policies, we have an informal board, friends that we sit down with, older people than me. Actually, one was my supervisor from work. So these are the people that we will give this policy and we'll tell them, oh, now every 3 months or whatever, we're having to review. Because failure to do so, you know that becomes the source of risk. Not the source of risk that you ate somebody's money, the source of risk that somebody paid to your account, there was a delay from your account maybe to an investment company, and then somebody is out there, reputational damage or something of that sort. Now, look at all your other aspects of lives in the same. You're going to have to think of the consequences. I've told you to think of foreshadow failure. If you don't save enough towards your retirement, just think of, so for you to do very well with your money, yeah, visualization and setting up a goal is one thing, but you're going to have to foreshadow failure. Say, now you see how that man or woman in your village or who retired from your workplace, how they have had a miserable retirement because they had not planned very well. Now you say, this is me if I don't do this very well. So the thing that will be needed is you having an accountability system, and an accountability buddy is one of those things. So you get yourself somebody who is, of course, really determined to get very well. Now, I might not be able to be an accountability for buddy for all of you because there are a lot of people. But once you send us a message, it doesn't matter how long it will take us for us to respond. Some of you will tell you we have been very successful in uh, giving you personalized replies to your messages. Don't worry, just tell me, oh, Daniel, I was doing this business and this is what we have done. Just the congratulation message is sufficient. The You say I've been lazy, and especially if you say you are lazy, then expect a phone call. I was supposed to do this, I didn't do it, expect a phone call. I will ask you why. Now you have, especially those who have been in our community for a very long period, you have learned a lot. Now go get somebody and be the accountability buddy. The beautiful thing about life, and ask me, I know this, when I was concerned about our community going to go for a very good retirement, then I got myself having to, you hear this, I say it a lot, if you jump, I am also jumping. So what that means is, yeah, it is not just being there for you, but I will also be putting my house in order. So that is very important. So good. Let's see. There's another poll there. We'll see how it is going. Please feel free to uh, 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 ask us a few questions. So uh, we had asked, what is it that you're looking forward to improve in 2026? Somebody said some consistent savings, and another person is doing investing more systematically. They're reducing financial stress or uncertainty. You can do that with the savings and setting a clear long-term direction, whether it is with the retirement or independence or whatever it is that you are working towards. Sure, we wish you the very best. And there are some goals there that you people are looking forward to do. So a lot of people are saying now they want to go and invest. So you're automating towards your investments. Now, bridging the intention action gap is you waking up tomorrow and, of course, writing that email to open that investment account. Once you do, you write the email, take a screenshot, send to us. We'll share it with our communities. This motivates somebody else to go and bridge the intention action gap. Once you set up that money market fund to share with us, once you set up, write that email for the standing order or at your workplace, you increase the contributions. So they deduct you towards your circle, maybe 10,000. So go increase if you have the capacity to increase with some 2,000 or 5,000. It is the small actions that achieve us the results. Very important. So feel free to ask us a few questions if you have them. So after today, what is the most realistic change you are going to make? So if it is automating, then I expect to find a lot of responses. Tomorrow, I wrote that email, I did set up that standing order. I shifted my salary account to move from bank XYZ and went to this bank because they have a money market fund account. We are saying the complexity will take us very long. Don't even try to make it complex. Like you can move the salary account to a bank with the money market fund account and then get started with your automation immediately. I don't know what it is that you need to do. Please just go ahead and do it. Okay. So the people, so there was that question of I have an irregular income. You will know we talk of making hay while the sun shines. If you don't know about personal finances, the first half of the year, people are so determined, like the first couple of months, people are very determined to put their finances in order and all these kind of things. So even for a personal finance trainer like myself, you get this period just like if it is income, you have a lot of people consulting and all those kind of things. Now, I've also accepted that the second half of the year, you won't have a lot of business, and that's okay. So what do? You make hay while the sun shines. Now, that part, psychologically, that part of the year, maybe we don't have business or something. We have gone to the office in the morning and there's no work to do. What do you do when you have these flats, like nothing is happening? I know that you get those, your things are not yourself in the business or something. You don't even know whether there is growth or something. So when that happens, then what you want to do is you want to grow. You are growing maybe by reading, you are growing maybe by engaging, you are growing by doing research, you are growing by getting feedback, you are looking back at how maybe the business has performed and putting in structures and writing emails, getting partners, making plans for next year and all those kind of things. So very important that even that period where I should be stationally, I'm growing internally. So a tree growing, yeah, top here we see leaves, but also down there it is growing roots. So we might be out of season up here, but down there things are still going on. So for the irregular income earner, now that period when we don't have, especially I don't have work or whatever, that is the most important time to grow in other aspects. So you're not a very good public speaker. You could be growing in those areas. You could be taking a course. You could be doing now, because these small bits that you are doing today is what build a foundation, maybe for a better next year or something of that sort. Um, if you don't earn enough income, we always say in personal finance that your first goal is not to invest like the bonds and all those kind of things. Your first goal is towards investing in an income generating skill, business, or whatever. So improve your income generating capacity. So that is the first thing that anybody who is saying, I don't earn enough money, I'm wondering how to save and invest. Now, whatever, even if you save 5,000, you should be investing that towards boosting your income earning capabilities. Now, I think because a lot of people will always come with, there's no enough to be able to do this, there's no enough to be able to do the other thing. So you can always consider that. So yeah, you have told us about your commitments, whatever it is that you want to commit. We'll just ask you again to go bridge the action intention gap. So go bridge the intention action gap. So you get down to it, you go do it. And it is important that tomorrow, from this session, whatever you are taking away from this session is, I'm going to have to achieve this goal. Who am I becoming? I'm becoming a person who is able to set very realistic goals that I have the intentions of achieving. I'm putting up resolutions, very intentional resolutions that I have all the intentions of achieving them. And also, I think that is something that we have said again and again in the past. There's no way there's no way you continue doing things the old way. Yeah, the old ways we are not achieving new results, and you think that you can continue that way and you'll achieve results. No, not really. There are gonna have to be something that is changing, and we. Speaking of that, you're going to have to start now doing habit replacement. So weekends, how where are they being spent? And how am I intending to spend now? What will I put into this weekend so that I'm not so idle? I also get to enjoy life and all those kind of things. So explore. It is very important that you do. Yeah, so tomorrow we set up the standing orders, we open those accounts, we automate our savings. If you are a business person now, start considering how you can get paid by your business, and the salary that your business pays you now, you get to save and invest that. And yeah, good. That brings us to the end of the session. Always, I love it being here with you. So a few questions, if they are there. So Abigail asks, with the elections next year, Is it prudent to shift from Kenyan government bonds to gold ETFs? Yeah, I know. Maybe we could be having that concern about post-election violence and whether the economy will stay afloat. I wouldn't recommend switching immediately, like doing 100%. Maybe my recommendation would be the interest earned from the bonds. Now you can start building a portfolio of the gold ETFs. So the interest earned. Now you see, you're venturing into another territory. So gold a little bit oversold. Will it sustain? Maybe not. Nobody knows. So you wouldn't want to move 5 million from bonds portfolio to gold ETFs, and then the gold ETF loses like 20%. That is not very profound. That is not a way to do it. So the best way I would say is where you are moving gradually. So it is the interest now from the bonds, maybe you are buying ETFs. But I didn't want to talk about investment options, but it is okay that I have asked any questions to be asked. That's okay. Now, let's take another question, maybe if it is there. Okay, thank you so much, Malida Chatkolil. Thank you, Shianga. Now, that should bring us to the end of the session. Zikomo, thank you. Definitely, thank you so much. I believe these are friends of Paddy. Most welcome. Karibuni sana. Now, I wish you the very best in 2026. If you don't belong to any of our communities, just tell the person who had invited you to ask me to invite you, to send you a link to invite you to the community, so that we can keep in touch and also get to invite you to the next webinar and the next one and the next one. Wishing you the very best, and I hope you at the end of the year, you'll get to look back and be glad that you achieved the goals. So the summary for the session and the quotes and the books and the recommendation of the movie, the series to watch, the TV series, we will send them to our WhatsApp groups. Thank you so much and good night, everybody. Thank you. Santene. Thank you, Paddy. Thank you for coming. Thank you for referring. No, yes, we leave now. Thank you so much.